Welcome to the Saturday morning live stream here at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters in Zone 5B, 6A, Northern Indiana. Although it's not even acting like Zone 5 anymore because of how crazy warm it is. This year is super warm, actually. It's already spring. I mean, spring is definitely here. Next week, it's going to be, for me, for this Viking, hot, which is going to be in the high 70s, you know. But we're going to be going down to Chattanooga, or the Chattanooga area, next week, me and Jenny, to do a garden install and to see our friends. And so it's going to be like 80 something down there next week. For me, that's like, oh no, it's so hot. No, I mean, not really. But once the hot weather arrives, I got to shave the beard off because it is ridiculously. I mean, it's like having the wool coat on your face all the time. Okay. So yes, Susan Boone, hello from Newfoundland. Do you say Newfoundland or Newfoundland? Is that how you say that? Carlos Ornelas, good morning, brother. Hello, my friend. Lennox E, $5, first tip of the day, right out of the gate. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, thank you, Nate. We appreciate all your info and patience from sunny South Florida. Wow, yeah. Can't even fathom. Well, I can fathom what that weather is like. I did live in Thailand for some time, a couple of seasons, teaching scuba diving, but never really been to Florida like that, you know, to experience the climate. Gary W1, hi, brother from London. Hello. Yeah, let me know where you guys are viewing from, okay? Just say hello from wherever it is. Okay, Susan says it's Newfoundland. Okay, you don't say it Newfoundland. Okay. Well, now we know. Pam Portiger... Potgeiter. I've never said that last name really, even though I see you all the time. See your name. My date with Nate. Yes. Hello, my friend. I'm glad that you're here. I know you're from South Africa. Broke Farmer says hello from Georgia. Easygoing Dude says hello from Houston, Texas. Dara La says hello from Cambodia. I've been to Cambodia. Phnom Penh. Saw Angkor Wat. The whole temple complex. Wow, mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. Cambodia was nothing like I had envisioned in my mind until I was there. Ehab says, Konnichiwa from Lebanon. You're in Lebanon, huh? Okay. Tony H, Ladson, South Carolina. My garden is planted. Good to hear. Cheryl Simmons, hello from Southwest Virginia. Successful Garden Design, Rachel, hello. She says, happy Easter, everyone. Yes, same to you, my friend. Val Thatcher, hello from Northern Arizona. Danger Pigeon, hello from MD, that's Maryland? Yes, hello, my friend. Let's see here. And brother from London, Daytona Beach, Florida. Jen Fari, okay. Ehab says, it's gone cloudy and cold again here in Lebanon. You're talking about the country Lebanon, right? Not Lebanon, Indiana? So what is cold to you? You know, what is cold to you? So Alexander Railing says, many greetings from Serbia. It's 44 Fahrenheit here. Okay, it's about the same right here, and I consider it kind of a heat wave at the moment. Mike D, yeah, buddy, Southern Oregon. All right. Clem Fandango, good morning from Maryland, Zone 7B. Nate, can we get some more Preserving the Harvest videos? And I need more of the saga, my brother. Watch them all in one day. Can't get enough. All right, that's very inspiring. Thank you for telling me that. Yes, the Preserving the Harvest ones, they will be coming as I'm doing them. You know, there will be many more of them this year. But we have to do it as the garden is coming into fruit. You know, I try to get them out as early as possible for you guys so that you can then do it. But what's the key is to go back to the last year's videos and watch the Preserving the Harvest playlist so that you will know exactly what to plant for this year. In particular, guys, make sure you watch that one I just did about the smoked peppers. That one is off the chain. I can't overstate it. Anyone who tastes that cooking with those peppers in it, or even my brother who is, he's into smoking, you know, the meats and stuff. He has a Traeger grill, you know, with an app and all that. But he's into all different kinds of spices and stuff, you know, for the smoking, the flavors. But when he smelled those peppers of mine, he's like, whoa, what is this? You know, so that's saying a lot, even a smoking connoisseur. But it just tastes delicious, guys. And so you got to get the right kind of peppers. Try to get you the Hungarian wax pepper. That's the classic, okay? That's the classic Hungarian, that's the classic paprika. But when you smoke it, the thing is when you smoke it, it just absorbs all that flavor. So you want to use the good oak wood. Oak is really good for that, okay? And then this year, I will show you how to make the smoked fermented poblano hot sauce, which is totally out of this world. So grow you at least 1 or 2 poblano pepper plants, okay? Because we'll be making that once they come in. But the thing with the peppers is that to get the full flavor, you want to let it ripe. I mean, you want to let it really go so that it develops that complexity. That's why, you know, it takes a while. Let's see. Joni Link says, can't wait for the heat to set in. Oh, I don't know about all that. Buddha says, good morning. I way slept in today. Where you at? Christine Ruddy, good evening from Surrey, United Kingdom. Ingrid says, Coos County, Oregon. Is that a real county? Coos? Coos? That's cool. Ehab says, well, it's not that cold, but compared to the sunniness of the past week, it is. Also, maybe it is because I'm on day 3 of the Master Cleanse. All right, my friend. Yes, very good. Very good. Oh, yes, I think you were the one taking the carob molasses. Is that right? Did I hear that from you? Nancy, blessings from Chattanooga. Yes, I think we'll be visiting Nancy when we are down into the area. Mike D. Applegate, my friend. Applegate what? Hey, Nate. McNaz96. Hey, Nate, how are you? Do you have any advice for getting rid of fungus gnats in an indoor grow in pots? Okay, fungus gnats, primary thing, you have to take away their food source. So they only come around when there's the fungus. So if you take that, you have to take the conditions away that cause the fungus. So you need to not water so much. You need to get more airflow in there and probably more heat. You probably need to up the heat a little bit so that everything can go along faster. Remember, plants need the 5 things, and it's in an equation, okay? They need light, water, air, nutrients, and it all has to happen at the right temperature. It's an equation, though, in the sense that when you manipulate one thing, then it allows you to manipulate the others, okay? So, for example, if you have lots of light, but you don't have the right temperature, it's super cold, then it's not going to grow right. But if you have the perfect temperature but not enough light, then it's not going to grow right, okay? But you can raise these things sort of at the same time, you know? There's another equation, without getting too into it though, there's another equation that you use, the photosynthesis equation. But anyways, you want to make the conditions such that the fungus goes away. And then for the fungus that is already on the plants, you can utilize the labs, but you'll have to utilize it strong, like in 2 ounces a gallon of water. So if you've made the labs, that's a good one. That will that'll eat up, that lactic acid bacteria will eat up the fungus, okay? And then you have to make it so that the conditions don't come back. But to kill the larva and stuff, you can water in with the JDOM wetting agent. If you use that at like 2 ounces a gallon or like 1 ounce a liter, then, no, actually that'd be 1 ounce every 2 liters. Yeah, those kind of measurements, it's tough. But yeah, if you water it in like that, then that will kill any soft-bodied creature, so including the larva. And it's the fungus gnat larvae that are the issue because they will eat the roots of the plant, okay? So let us see. Vera W says, hi from Belgium. I'm up potting my tomato seedlings to a bigger pot in a few days. My first JMS will be ready tomorrow. Can I use it to soak the potting mix, undiluted, or what would you advise? Okay, so you are upping, so no, you wouldn't want to, for the seedlings, you'll want to do it just a dilute mix, 1 to 10, something like that. It's very good, definitely. The JMS is good, but the JMS is more ideal for the outdoors. So if it were me, like what I would do and what I have done, and I will show you guys, like because I'm getting ready to plant out some of my Cabbages, these are some of the brassicas. They're just bursting with life. They're like growing out of the soil blocks. So what I do is you want to make the compost extract. So I made a video about a seedling fertilizer, and that really is the best of the best. You can put some of the JMS in with it, but the JMS doesn't actually have any nutrients in it, and that's the thing. So the seedlings need the nutrients. Okay, 4 weeks till they go outdoors. Okay, you can. So I suggest taking some compost and making the compost extract, because the compost extract has the nutrients, and that is what the plants need. And it has it in a good plant available form already. And so you want to use that as opposed to the JMS, because the JMS has no nutrients in it, but it has microbial life, which over the long run will unlock more nutrients, but in the soil. So JMS pretty much, you want to put that in the soil. You got 4 weeks till you plant, then I would add every week or even every 5 days, add an application of the JMS to the soil that you're going to be planting in. But feed the actual seedlings, the actual seedlings, see, they want that good nutrient. You see, you want them to be standing up. You see how they're really erect and they're standing up and they're just like happy with life. This comes from having everything that they need. You see, there's no burnt tips, there's no yellow leaves, nothing's wilting. Everything is just really bursting with life. And so it's that's what they need, those plant available nutrients. I got some other things I'm gonna show you guys today too, which is kind of cool. So let's see here. Val says, Donna Tarrant, good question. Wondering the same. What's the question, Donna? Donna Tarrant, when is it safe to plant out my ginger? Mine is growing like crazy in the tent. Oh man, let me show you. Yeah. Whoa, that tea is scalding hot. Yes. So the ginger, the ginger this year got crazy, really tall, you know, some of the ginger. So I got a couple of these that are ready, and they are just growing like bamboo. So yes, the ginger, unfortunately, these have still another 4 weeks before they can go outside. So we are, because ginger is a tropical plant. So if it gets even the slightest little frost on it, it's going to be an issue. I mean, it's gonna die. And so it does not like a frost. It doesn't even like the temperatures to be like really below 50. So, see, the previous couple of years, my ginger did not sprout this fast and it didn't grow this vigorously. So this year it's growing really vigorously. And so I'm going to have to redo some things so that it can, I mean, it's going to be like 3 feet tall at least, because it's got another month before it can go out. So, you know, like I said, though, this is only my 4th year growing the ginger. That's right, ginger's ginger. Yep. Take a look at this ginger. See how vigorous it is, virile. Yeah. So you have to wait till the last frost. So you got to do whatever you got to do. Trish says, are you going to put the ginger in a container outside so you can bring it in when it gets cold in the fall? No, I might do that with a couple of them, but there's no need for that, because since it's so started up already, and remember, ginger begins rhizome production in its 4th month of vegetative growth. Okay, so it's very important that you start it as early as possible. So this isn't a problem. If you've got real tall ginger and stuff, it's not a problem, guys, okay? So just set it out during the day when you can, and then you take it back in at night, and we just have to nurse it until you're sure that there's no more frost, which it looks like this year is going to be really early. I mean, as far as, hello, Ursula, yes, vigorous, virile ginger. And so this year is going to be warm. It's going to be warm faster than previous years. I can tell already. But we have to make sure. That's when you'll put it out. And I'm going to put it in some containers, but not to bring inside, because it will absolutely be ready to harvest. And so I harvest the ginger and make kimchi out of it, make kombucha out of it, make all different kinds of things out of it. Okay. So, but you can bring some in if you want, especially if you got the grow tent set up. If you've been using the links in the description of the videos and stuff, and you got a grow tent set up like me, then yeah, you totally, if you want to overwinter some of it, you can overwinter it. And what I wanted to say is that you can use, guys, the ginger essential oil is present in every cell of this plant. And so you can take some of the leaves, and I do this all summer long. You can take some of the leaves, pull one of the leaves off, and make tea with it. You have to pull a couple of them because it's not as concentrated as it is in the rhizome. But you can absolutely take it and make tea out of it. The stalks, the roots, the rhizome, all parts of the ginger plant have the essential oil in it. And so, let's see. Donna says, would love a video on ginger kombucha. Yes, okay, well then it's on its way. Yeah, I will be making one of those when we harvest it. Ehab says, yep, I'm the carob molasses guy. Also, what about the grape molasses? An unrelated question. Also, if I may, can I make potassium hydroxide from wood ash? Although potassium hydroxide, no. Is it I think it's sodium hydroxide is the wood ash. I forget. I'm getting a little bit foggy on that right now at the moment. But what would you want to do with it? What would you want to do with the wood ash? Okay, Nate says, or Ms. P says, Nate, please, if you would, scroll back up as there are several many good questions we missed. Inquiring minds want to know. Okay. Yeah, and so guys, if I don't answer it within a reasonable time, just ask it again, please. That's how we got to do it. Because maybe in the future, I will try and do it on my computer. But I would have to bring the computer down here and stuff. And, you know, but because then I could see more questions. But it's on a iPhone right now. Let's see. George Adrian says, I have a question kind of off topic. What would be the best way to manage the attack of mole cricket? I am unsure what you are talking about, my friend, so I can't be of any help. Buddha says, there's so much I need to do on my days off, but it's like a swamp around my beds right now. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I understand. Moondust, debating whether I'm going to do a market garden or not. Ooh, that's a big debate. Yeah, that's a big debate. Okay, Andy Crowley says, thanks for the fermented tomato recipe last fall. They are awesome. I am still eating them and found that the larger tomatoes without the starter stored the best. Oh, okay, nice. The larger tomatoes without the starter. Okay, yeah. What do you mean stored best, though? Because I've never had any of them go bad. I still have some because I'm savoring them. But, guys, the purple bumblebee, I have found that the best one of all is the purple bumblebee for that. You just put them in their hull. A lot of the videos talk about, you know, a lot of people say you got to pierce them and stuff like that. You don't have to do any of that. You just put them into there, add the brine, and add the ingredients, and they are incredible. Nita says, hi, Nate, is it late to start ginger, potatoes, and sweet potatoes? Okay, we won't start potatoes indoors, but we start sweet potatoes, yes, and you can start ginger. But I believe you're in India, is that correct? So in most of India, you can grow ginger at any time, especially if you're in the south. Let's see here. Bob Vila says, any difference in your soil or your technique you think that might have changed the germination rate? Are you talking about for the ginger? I just get things more dialed in. My setup downstairs is because the previous years after coming back from the mountains, you know, living in California stuff, I didn't have any like money to spend on anything. So I was just making do with absolutely like no money. And so that's how I was doing it the previous years. But then now that there's a little bit of funds and stuff, then, okay, so I have the tent, I have the grow tent, I have the proper lights, I have a heat mat with a thermostat, you know, and everything's on timers like that. And that is the key, is the heat mat and the lights on the timers. Everything's kind of automated. It's got the nice tent with the reflective material. So all of those conditions, it's like a tropical beach down there in the grow tent. Even though the basement itself is like 50 degrees or 52 degrees, inside the tent it's like 78 Fahrenheit and breezy and nice. So those are all things, yeah. And I get my soil mix dialed in more. I'm just constantly tweaking everything, you know. Clem says, Nate, do you have any general tips for growing strawberries and other similar fruit for long-term preservation and storage? Long-term preservation and storage, I don't have a lot of experience with long-term preservation of fruit. When I get the land, and the very first thing I do is plant a bunch of fruit trees and bushes and berries and all that stuff, then we will use the same principles of food preservation and the same techniques and things to begin the journey of preserving fruit. So we'll have all kinds of topics and content about that when that time comes. But as of now, I don't have a lot of experience with that. Yes. Graham, what's up, my friend? Says, so Graham is from Ireland. Hi, Nate. Still having problems with JMS. Tried every type of natural water. I use salt from the sea. I've got the heater at 21 degrees. What is that in Fahrenheit? What is 21 degrees Fahrenheit? Could it be the weather and microbes not there? Okay, so you have got the leaf mold from a good old forest, right? I'm sure you've got some around there that have not been treated with anything. Directly treated with anything. And so you want to get the leaf mold and make sure that it's nice and dark and rich. Tried a lot of various leaf molds from many places. I'm confused. No problems last year. That is really weird. What about the potatoes? The source of potatoes? Are they your own potatoes? Because ones from the store, of course, can have sprout inhibitors and all of that. But if you're in Ireland, I'm sure there's no shortage of just good natural potatoes. So what is 21 Fahrenheit, though? What is 21? Okay, 70 Fahrenheit. Okay, well, I don't know. You just got to, so are you boiling it and then you're boiling the potatoes and then blend it up? That can really help. And what kind of sea salt are you using? There can't be any iodine in it. It has to just be straight up salt, sea salt. Val says, at Graham, me too. This last batch I gave up on it and unplugged the heater and let the bucket sit for 4 days. And this morning there are bubbles. Yeah, okay. So, but still 4 days, that should be, yeah, I don't know. It can be temperamental depending on the microbes and stuff. So you just keep trying. It's guaranteed to work. It will work. Just keep trying, my friends. R. Murphy, hello. Can I use oleander leaves in a compost or dirt underneath the bush? Compost will be added to a vegetable garden. Thanks. Oleander is actually one of the top natural pesticide plants in the JDOM system. So you can make a good natural pesticide out of the oleander, if I'm saying that right. But I don't know as far as compost or how it reacts to the compost because I don't have experience with that plant because we don't grow it here. It doesn't grow here. So I can't say for sure. But what I can say for sure is that is a very useful pesticide plant. Okay, Melody says 64 Fahrenheit. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's too cool. Even okay, some other ones saying 68 to 69 Fahrenheit. Yeah, so I would bump it up. Bump it up to like 78, okay? Bump it up to 78 or even 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you guys here's what I would do. If you're having issues, put the heater at 80 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever in the Celsius. And then it will work. You will see. Okay, so you want to, so then that will eliminate the heat because really in the JDOM system says anything below 68 degrees and the microbes won't even function right. So yeah, crank up the heat. I bet that's going to fix it. Crank up the heat and let me know when it works. Sharon says, JMS, can we use rainwater with some algae? No iodine in the salt. Had not heard that one. Also, our tap water has chloramine, which does not evaporate by sitting out. Ideally, rainwater, yes. If it has some algae in it, I don't know about that. I mean, maybe you could boil it first. It's kind of tough to boil that much water, but you could give it a try. The only concern would be that it's already colonized. It's already been being colonized by a bacteria, and so it would make it not very successful. Okay. So could be that your thermostat is too small for your batch. Okay, so let's see. Buddha says, I don't think the poison is still present after composting. Gavin says oleander is toxic to humans. Be careful. Okay, see, I didn't know that. I'm glad that somebody does. Melody says, was shocked how tasty Himalayan salt is. Yes, Himalayan salt is very tasty. And on my other channel where I talk about the master cleanse and stuff, a lot of people have tried to tell me, who's going to tell this guy that Himalayan salt isn't sea salt? Like they got one up on me or something, but it actually is. Himalayan salt is sea salt, because it doesn't really matter if the sea water evaporated 10 years ago or 10 million years ago. It's still from the sea, and so the Himalayan salt is sea salt. So that's what that is. And it has a lot of minerals in it. I mean, so does regular salt as well. Okay, EHAB, I meant sodium hydroxide. That's what I thought. Okay, so that's what you are using for making soap and JWA. You can use ashes, you can use the wood ash to make soap, yes, that is effective for the body. Definitely have done that. But you cannot use it for JDOM wetting agent. It just won't work. You need the laboratory grade stuff, okay? It's very sensitive to contaminants and stuff like that, the making process, okay? Okay, good. We got a scientist here. Garth says 21C is 69.8 Fahrenheit. So that settles it. Yeah, not warm enough. Crank it up to 80, even 82 degrees, because we want to make sure that we want to see what's going on. You'll be shocked. You'll see big old bubbles now, okay? Grant says, I now find myself some 400 miles north of you in Minnesota, or North Michigan. I went to direct sow, but have not had chance to prep the garden, which is just invasive grass. Oh no. Suggestions for quick turnaround from grass to grow for this season, including corn. Loved video on fall prepping soil. Okay, so a suggestion for the quick turnaround for the grass. So you have a number of options. You can, if you watch the video that I had about how to prepare the ground in the fall time, where we rake the leaves into a long pile, we burn the leaves, and then once all the ash was down, we put more leaves on top of it once everything was cool. And so that is going to kill the grass. That is going to also fertilize at the same time. And then you put more leaves or a tarp, whatever you have available, to block the light. And so nothing else will sprout. So really, the best way is to have a fire of some kind. I don't know what your access to, like wood or leaves or cardboard, even burning material, but ideally place stuff in a size of the garden bed, ideally dry deciduous leaves, and light it on fire. And that will kill all the grass and most of the seeds at the surface. And then you put either a tarp or mulch or whatever you're going to use on top of that as soon as it's cool. And that's going to keep the grass, at least for this season, that'll keep it from growing up pretty much. So that's what I would do. That's the quickest way. Also, there's two types of using the tarps, and you can solarize it or you can black it out. So you can use a black tarp to exclude the sunlight, and that will, it takes several weeks, all right? And that will kill the grass because the black tarp also will get very hot. And that will kill the grass and exclude the sunlight. But if you want to solarize it, then you use a clear plastic. And so long as the weather is warm enough, that is very, very fast. Because on just one good blazing hot day, when you put that clear tarp out there, it will roast all the grass. But it has to be hot. So if you're in North Michigan, then it's not going to be hot enough yet. So I would do the burning thing if you had access to it. If not, blackout tarp will probably work the best. That's what I would do. Yep. So Danger Pigeon says, can I use rabbit manure in place of compost for seedling elixir? If you have to, yes. Rabbit manure is very good, very benign as well. You can use it. You can definitely make a tea from it and use it straight. I've done that many times. Although it does not have the same effect as the good quality finished compost. There really is no compare for good quality finished compost. And an extract is quick and effective, and you don't have to aerate it or anything. So that's ideal. But if you don't have the good compost, then yes, yes, you can use some rabbit manure for sure. Make a tea out of that. Maybe just 1 cup to the gallon. But you'll have to let it soak a bit longer. Maybe 24 hours. Yeah. Let's see. Ms. P says, what a fine group of peeps we have here. That is true. Very true. Let's see. Hans Ketchup. Hi, Nate. What do you think about ullas and terracotta spikes? Ullas. U-L-L-A-S. I'm not familiar with that. And terracotta spikes. I'm not sure what that means. Describe it to me more. Or I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. Becky Knight says, what store do you want a gift card for, Nate? Aw, that's so kind of you. What store? I don't know, man. I barely shop at stores anymore. I mean, really, the Co-op and Amazon, I definitely that would, that's a pretty good place. You can't go wrong there because I know that it's the big brother and that it's the big, I know all about it, but man, the Amazon is so convenient and it's just creeping into my life in the sense that now they're paying me a little bit, to put links in the videos and stuff so you can have a little bit of money that way and everything. At first, I was really hesitant and sort of resistant to, no, I want to go to a store, but then over the past few years, it's like, man, it just kind of makes more sense. It just makes more sense. To Amazon, they don't have to waste so much space with stores and so many resources with the stores, for things that I can just click and then it'll come at some point, So, yeah. But you can surprise me, my friend, if that's what you want to do. I'll be happy with anything. Let's see here. Val, $5. Thank you very much, my friend. Thanks, Nate. You helped me so much. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Let's see. Marcus says, Amazon return policy is unmatched. Absolutely, man. I've just never had issues. Besides the stuff coming, looking like it had been like they got in a train wreck, a train derailment, and it just went through, a combine, and then they threw it from the street onto my front porch. Besides it looking like that often, it's actually, I've never had any issues. So, let's see. Danger Pigeon, Home Depot. Oh, definitely Home Depot. I can find stuff at Home Depot all day. Hans Ketchup. They're clay pots for self-watering made of unfinished terracotta. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't have any experience with that. I don't. It depends on your climate, but always the plant wants the earth. Always, and this is important because they want to spread out their roots, and they need the groundedness of the actual earth. They love this. Okay. Let's see here. Ulas equals olas. I don't know what that means, even still. Darren Redding, growing squash in hay bales. Amendments necessary? Oh, absolutely. In hay bales, you are going to need amendments. Unless they are super broken down to the point where they're almost compost. But yeah, you will need to fertilize with the compost teas or the compost extract, the JDOM microbial solution, any of the nutrient rich fertilizers that we make from the channel. You'll want to be adding all of those because the hay bales are not a good source of nutrition. They're more like a growing medium. You will hear from time to time some people says, oh, I didn't condition it and I still had success. That can depend on a lot of factors. Who knows? But for the most part, hay bale farming is going to require additional nutrients for sure. So Lisa of Light says, hi Nate, I now have an ongoing supply line of free organic horse manure. What's the best way to prep it for this year's food and flower grow? I'm in Central California. Okay, so I take it that you have already sourced it and you understand that they are not feeding it with contaminated hay from the grazon and things of that nature. So the best way, you can either compost it, okay? You can put it into a big pile and tarp it so that it can really heat up. That's a good way to kill the weed seeds, okay? If you're just gonna use it out in the open in the garden, you want to hot compost it, okay? So keep a pile with enough thermal mass preferably like a 4x4 cube at least. And then you have to turn it every so often to aerate it and to keep the center of it hot. Generally, with horse manure, you don't have to add anything else because there's already a good combination of the nitrogen to carbon ratio, especially if they use some kind of bedding. So you can compost it in that way. Keep it covered up, though, yes. Core gardening, yes, in a moment. So that's a good way to do it if you want to destroy the weed seeds, because there's so many weed seeds in the horse manure. That's the number one, pretty much only drawback, okay, is that the horse does not digest its food nearly as thoroughly as like the cow does. And so there will be seeds of whatever the horse was eating, there will be seeds in its manure. So you can either hot compost it, get it up over 140, 50, I think it is, where the weed seeds will die. But that's sort of labor intensive. Or you can just put it in a huge pile and let it decompose naturally over a year. That can also work. That doesn't kill all the weed seeds. Another good way is you can use it fresh, like we did last year, and I have several times before. But you can just put it into rows like this, a foot deep and 2 feet wide, rows of the horse manure. I mean, if you got a lot of it, and then you can put landscaping fabric right over that, and put holes in the landscaping fabric with the torch, and then plant your tomatoes or peppers or cucumbers, squash right into that. And I know it seems crazy, but it works really well. And it's the landscaping fabric that is going to keep the weeds down. So then it doesn't matter if you hot compost it. So that's the easiest and simplest method. Yeah. So Cliver MacGyver says, howdy from Calgary. I have a squirrel problem. My sister said she uses bounce fabric sheets. A lot of info online. What do you say? Guys, what are some squirrel solutions? What do you say? Now, I do know that things that can work for squirrels are like that, the old 1022. But if you're not into that, then you can utilize things like predatory urine. You can go to the hunting store and get some lure of the either fox or the coyote or the wolf, even if you have that available. You can, and then take the lure, which is just a scent from the scent gland of the predatory animal, the fox or whatever it is, and rip up strips of old t-shirt and then dab some of the lure on it and place it at the perimeter of your garden. You pretty much will not see any more squirrels or anything else. So yeah, you won't see any more squirrels or rabbits because they smell that and they go, whoa, the predator's in the area. If you don't have access to that, you can also, it can work that blood meal or even fresh blood or whatever. But blood meal, if you sprinkle the blood meal around, it will freak them out thinking that a predator is in the area and a fresh kill has just sort of happened. And so that is, is a good way, probably the best way. Okay. Let's see here. Buddha says 22. Yeah, 22 is really the way. And I got a 22 air rifle. So it's totally silent and it just like that with the scope that's all dialed in. I open up the window and then get back a little bit so nobody sees me. Post up on the refrigerator like this and see him. It's just like, that's all the noise. Done. That's it. But of course I don't have to do that anymore because now I got Shiva the Destroyer and nothing is in the yard anymore. So let's see here. And Mom General says, successful growing does not equal nutrient dense. That is true. That is very true. Because you could dump Miracle Grow on your stuff, on your Pro Mix, potting mix, and get a big, beautiful plant. But it's going to be totally devoid of nutrients and therefore flavor and life force and all of the good stuff. Because the plants evolved to live with the soil. They need the soil. They need the activity in the soil. That is what produces the flavor and the nutrients. Yes? But unfortunately, because the modern system pays the farmer based upon weight. It's how much does it weigh? Okay? Well, so how much does it weigh and how big and beautiful does it look? Well, Okay, so if that is the criteria, then all the farmers are going to be focusing all their efforts on getting as much weight as possible, and so you make them as big as possible, but without paying any attention to the nutrient density or the impact on the soil or any of that. But if we rearrange the system so that the farmer was paid based upon the nutrient density, whoever has the most nutrient dense produce gets the highest dollar amount. Then we'd have all the farmers working to get the most nutrient dense food, which is already the natural way that has been developed for millions and millions of years, is that way, the natural way of the soil food web. And so it's already been taken care of. Let's see here. RK says, trap with peanut butter. Everyone loves peanut butter. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Live trap, too. Yeah. Squirrels, live traps work no problem. But then you still got to mess with it in some way. And you've got to, some people talk about, some people get the live traps and then, throw the whole live trap in a bucket, in a trash can full of water. And to me, that's more barbaric than the 22. Or that's just not, good practice, So the live traps, yeah, if you're going to take it somewhere and make it somebody else's problem, that's the issue I have with trying to trap rats. It's like, where are you going to take it that is not, you're not just going to make that somebody else's problem, Even if you take it to where you think is secluded, the rat or the groundhog or something, they're going to find a settlement in some way and become somebody else's problem. So nobody likes a rat. You just have to get rid of it. Ms. P. Cliver, I had to use Tula fabric to protect from squirrels. Their little claws stick on it and they hate it. Becky Knight says, Nate, what's eating my sweet corn leaves, leaving a yellowish junk in the center too? Of the sweet corn leaves. Boy, that could be about anything. Probably the little worms that infect those things. Have they started to... Man, you already got sweet corn coming up and stuff, but you are like in Florida, aren't you? So yeah, I would have to see a picture. You can email me a picture if you'd like. Let's see. Tushi G says, nothing works for squirrels except traps. I have tried everything. I have ninja squirrels. They are not deterred by urine or hormone stuff. Traps work 24 hours a day. Yeah, ultimately, traps. If you have to do that, the traps will always work, yes. Bob Vila says, truth. I ran a copper rod connecting my house plants to the earth and they perked right up. Electroculture. Okay, well, if you're having success with that, carry on, my friend. Let's see. Cliver MacGyver says, guns are rare in Canada. Only the criminals have them. Yes. That tends to be the result of gun control, is to only the people willing to break the law are the ones that will have them. Of course. It is not the case in America, thankfully. There is guns everywhere. And it's part of a history, since I was a kid. 8 years old, I think I got my first one. And I was going into the woods, taking rabbits and stuff like that, riding my dirt bike into the woods and taking pigeons and rabbits and eating them over the fires and stuff. It was just great. It was such good memories. Trish says, Nate, if you add JMS to a fresh garden bed, how long do you wait before planting new crops? Is it diluted or undiluted? So if you apply the JMS undiluted, just a couple of days. Really, you could plant right away if you water everything in good. So it's not that big of a deal. You can plant pretty much anytime. But ideally, you want to do the 5 full-strength JMS leading up to, 1 week apart, leading up to the time when you plant. Yes. But what I want to show you guys, one of the things I want to show you guys is, so look, the soil blocks and the compost tea or the compost extract and stuff and the fish fertilizer, they are loving life. Okay. And so you guys, you can see how they're nice and erect, and that is important. You don't want them to be all flimsy and flopping over and stuff. And I'm going to take a moment so that I can get one of these out, because I had a lot of questions of you guys about what do you do with the, or how does the soil block hold up to being planted? And so, yeah, I kind of want to show you that a little bit, but let's see if I can do it on air without messing anything up. And so, because it's pretty much time that we're going to be planting all this stuff, guys. It's time to where, so if you've got stuff like onions, those can get going out pretty much any time. If you've got stuff like collard greens and all of that, we are going to be planting that stuff pretty much right now, anytime, right around now. You just want to harden it off, which we will talk about in just a moment. I'm going to get to Mish's question in a moment. But I actually think I need to spend some more time getting these out of there. So I was going to do it live right now, but I don't want to mess things up because I need to like focus on it. But yeah, the stuff is super healthy, and they've been hardening off now for a couple of days, and so they are going to go out today. I'm going to put down a fresh dose of ash fertilizer, and then I'm going to plant them. Yep. Now, let's see here. Lisa of Light says, Nate deserves more likes. Thank you very much, my friend. Yes. Go ahead and like the video if you would. Go ahead and share the videos with anybody and all that good stuff. Share the stuff to your Facebook groups. This would be really helpful. Also, guys, if you are on Instagram or Facebook, use the hashtag #GardenLikeAViking. That would be very cool because I want to see your stuff. And so, because I wasn't really sure about how you do the hashtag stuff. So I was talking about hashtag Team Viking before, but that's I think we're going to lay off that. I'm still going to do that, but the main one, guys, hashtag #GardenLikeAViking. Okay. You can use it in any of your garden related stuff. And that way I can see it. Okay, so if you take pictures of your stuff or your ferments or something like that, then you can either tag me in it or you can, but then always put the Garden Like a Viking hashtag. And that way, because I want to see you guys' garden. I want to see your progress. And especially if you're having issues, if you're asking questions, if I can see it, I can way better. Danger Pigeon says, minimum time before urea ferment is usable. Well, that depends. See, if you're going to use, according to the Organic Certification Board, if you're going to use human urine, it must be fermented for 6 months, 180 days before it can be utilized. And so that is the official answer. And the unofficial answer is that really you can use it after just a couple of weeks. The microbes and the conversion process happens. And you will see, it is not like fresh urine. You know, so many people comment on the urea video that I made. Why don't you just use fresh urine, just pee on the plants? And so, okay, well, that's not the same thing. Okay. Otherwise I would have just said that. Otherwise, I will make a video how to use fresh urine, but when you put it into the bucket, some kind of conversion happens. I forget exactly like the chemistry behind it, but it's a form of the nitrates. Some of the ammonia is being converted to a different form of nitrogen. And so it becomes more concentrated, much stronger, and it becomes darker and a whole different smell and color. So yeah, after just a couple of weeks, you can start using it. No problem. Yeah. But that's the kind of thing you can add to it as you're using it, you know? So Pam says, yes, the thumbs up. The more, the merrier for Nate. Yes, thank you, my friend. And let's see. Lisa of Light, $20. Thank you very much for the tip, my friend. I appreciate your contribution. I'm giving you my time, so this is a symbolic representation of your time. And so I thank you. Gloria says, hello, Nate. Some of my young potato leaves, edge only, are looking a bit yellowish. I did the grow bags method, used organic garden soil. I am in far west Texas. Days are running low to mid 70s. Okay, where did the soil come from? So Gloria, what kind, you used organic garden soil, but is it like bags that you just got this year? Or is it soil that you have made yourself, bursting with microorganisms and life? Or is it bagged soil? So I will look here in a moment. Tree Rogie says, Nate, congrats on almost 62,000 subs. Yeah, I know. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. 1 year. 1 year we've been going at this. Let's see. Jason Knight, our little bug pug finally killed her first mole. Nice. That is a very valuable thing to have. And so RK says, is it all right to add dried leaves to the JMS along with the potatoes and leaf mold? We don't need to add dried leaves to the JMS. There's no need for that. because we already got the leaf mold. So the only thing that you ever add to the JMS, if you want to, if you're like a farmer where you have specific crops, like say I'm a garlic farmer, or so I've got garlic and spinach, okay? Those and a bunch of each or whatever. And so I want to fertilize each separately. So you can actually custom tailor a more so custom tailor microbial mix to that crop if you utilize just a small amount of that crop. So if you take some of the healthiest garlic that you have, say we want to make a garlic microbial solution, make the JMS, but then take just a few cloves of the healthiest garlic that you have and put it in there with it. Yes. Or of the spinach, take just a few leaves of the healthiest spinach that you have, put them into the bucket, into the strainer with everything else. And those are going to have the ideal microorganisms. And so you're going to help to culture those in the bucket. And that's a crop specific. I haven't made any video on that, but that's very beneficial. A lot of people out west were having good results with that. And the JDOM system promotes that as well. So Lisa of Light says, thank you, Nate, for sharing and caring. You are very welcome, my friend. Brandon Vaughn, yes, hit that like button. That's right. Man, as soon as I started saying like button, it went up like 30 likes. Man, see, but I'm bad at that. A lot of channels and stuff, man, they as soon as you, 10 seconds into the video. So before we get started, guys, yeah, I just want to take a moment. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and leave a like. Here's all of our sponsors and all this stuff. I'm like, man, we're 10 seconds into the video. I don't even know if I like you, or I don't know if I like this video, or I don't know if I've gained anything from it. So what? So I just put that stuff at the end, always at the very end. And then I often forget, because I figure the people, this is how I am. If I already know what to do. So if I'm watching a video and I like it and I'm like, okay, I want to support that guy, or I want more people to receive this information, I will click the thumbs up, and if I want to more of this person, I'll subscribe. Totally regardless if the person tells me, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I already know that. So that's just what I assume everybody already knows. So yeah, that's why I don't say it that much in the videos, as opposed to some other people, Also, another thing that's a little bit irritating to me is intros. I don't know what you guys think, but like for some videos, for some channels it can work, but like a big 30-second intro where there's music playing and all this kind of stuff. And okay, and I'm just waiting like, man, for the right kind of video maybe, but not for gardening videos. So that's why I don't have an intro. Stone Creek says, I made the spring weed fertilizer in a 5-gallon bucket. It has mold on top. Is it bad? No, it is not bad. You're going to get all kinds of gnarly stuff in those buckets. Do not fear. So long as you made it right with the leaf mold, everything's going to be just fine. Yep. Moon Dust. I like that. It says, punch the like button in the face like a boss. That's right. I might use that. Yeah. Okay. That's right. Like a boss. Jason Knight, right on, dude. Congrats. Got a new bed. Trying to do Viking style in ground. I've only done containers in different styles. This for me is prime time, dude. All right, my friend. This is very good to hear. So I've only done containers in different. So, dude, in the ground, it's so much better, guys, because in containers, there's such a smaller amount of soil for the plant to draw from. And so it needs more consistency of watering. It needs more nutrients. It can dry out faster. It can heat up faster. In the earth, man, it's like a huge buffering for all of that, especially if you do the mulch. Okay, so you want to keep the mulch around there. Someone asked about core gardening. Yes, core gardening is very effective. And this just entails essentially, so say we have a bed that is 4 feet wide, something 10 feet long. And we have it, it's like 6 inch. We just have it 6 inches and it's exposed to the earth underneath. So we are going to dig down into the actual earth a little bit. And we're going to make like a furrow in the middle of the bed, running the length of the bed. And we're going to add straw or like decomposing hay or straw. Okay, straw is good. Or grass clippings if you have that, if you have enough, or even well-rotted wood. Okay, now fresh wood is going to take way too long to break down for this and to be useful for core gardening. It would have to be already breaking down wood, to where you hit it and it would like kind of crumble a little bit. But you put that all along the furrow that you made, the trench that you made in the center, and then you put soil back over it, and then you just plant everything as normal. And that core of the bed is going to really hold on to a lot more moisture because it's the rotting wood or the rotting hay or the rotting straw or the rotting grass clippings. You put all that there, and that's going to act as a buffer. So as the bed dries out, it's going to wick some of that moisture from the core. And then once it gets a rain, it's going to absorb more of the moisture. So it's a really good technique if you have the right space for it. Okay. Ursula says, you intro like a Viking. Hello, oh, that's right. That is the intro. Okay, my friends, here it is. The video that's going to change your life. Yeah, it's the intensity. So your beliefs on the like intro situation shows how much you respect the intelligence of your audience. Oh, that's very kind of you, CSR. And yes, I guess that is very true. I just assume that they are all totally, that they get it, of course. I mean, they're watching this channel, so they got to be clued in more so than maybe others. Jason Hetty, white layer on top of fish hydrolysate, also okay? Yes, also okay. Although the fish hydrolysate, you can stir that up. Go ahead and stir it up. The white layer typically is just a yeast bloom. We get that on top of the ferments as far as the tomatoes, the cucumbers. That's about it. But you get that on top of the ferments. Yeah. So, but it's not a problem. Ruben says, just got in. Hello, my friend. Glad you're here. And I've always had a white gooey layer on my fish fertilizer. I use it anyways. Yes, Becky, you can use it anyways. Pam says, yes, Saturday date with Nate is my time to listen and learn and be with the gardening friends. Yes, this is awesome. See, even though we're all over the world, all different parts of the world, we're all here right now in the same ether, in the same space. Think of that. I mean, even though the time is different, you know, where you're at and stuff, it might be nighttime, might be Sunday, it might be, who knows, we're all here right now. And so we can feel that energy. I can totally feel the energy. It's fantastic. Yeah. So Fabrizio says, should I saturate city compost with JMS IMO3? It smells questionable. City compost. So what is that? You've got like a city compost program and they give you compost? Yeah, I don't know. I would have to see. I mean, it's probably okay. They probably got their industrial methods, but definitely saturate it with some good quality JMS. Yes. You could also do some labs as well, and if you're questionable compost. Stone Creek says, is the spring weed fertilizer diluted for use? The fertilizer made from weeds, yes, you can dilute it. You should dilute it. 1 to 20 is typically how you want to do that. 1 to 10, 1 to 20, something like that. And water to the roots, okay? For the most part, with the anaerobic, the ferments like that, we are going to water the soil only, okay? A lot of JDOM people can advocate for the leaves and stuff. I just recommend staying off the leaves with any of that kind of stuff, okay? So the ground is really the best, the soil, until you really know what you're doing. Nita says, I'm cooking and watching. All right, what are you cooking, Nita? Lita Fielding says, hello from Namibia. Nice, Africa. The only places I've been in Africa is into Morocco and into the West Sahara. I rode my bicycle from Spain and Madrid, south through Andalusia and Cordoba and Toledo. And then we crossed the Straits of Gibraltar on a barge, had our bicycles on the barge, went to Tangier, and then rode all down the coast. And then I marooned myself basically in a fishing village for several months. It was really a fantastic time in life. Fabrizio, green bins used for compost. Okay. So then what? They give it back to you? We don't have a program like that here. So they give it back to you then, or you can go and get the compost? I've seen the green bins. I know what you're talking about. You put any kind of yard scraps in there. But I'm not exactly familiar with it. So then you go and get it. Lisa of Light, thanks for manifesting this beautiful garden tribe, Nate. I can nerd out on gardening for hours. Yeah, oh, me too, man. I mean, there is no end. I could talk about it nonstop, and I can learn about it and do it nonstop. Yeah. Mick says, building a laying box while I watch. Laying for, what, you got chickens? Something like that? Or are you talking about for IMO collection? Joni Link, I'm doing the same with JLF, and it's bubbling like crazy. Is that okay? JLF is bubbling like crazy? Oh yeah, it's going to bubble like mad because there's all kinds of microorganisms stuff happening in there, all right? Scott Murray, $10. Thanks a lot, Dad. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here watching, but you never put a question in with the, surely you got to have a gardening question. Yeah, thanks for the support. Just Me says, hey, brother. Can't wait to see you this week. Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it as well. Okay, I forgot that was your screen. I forgot that was your name. Just Me. Who are you? Okay, yeah. Yeah, super looking forward to seeing you. We got the supplies, and we're looking forward to it. Although it might be Thursday. I'll text you after this, but it might be Thursday that we show up because the microphone setup that I need to be doing videos is not going to arrive until like late Wednesday. So it's possible. I hope that doesn't mess things up, but it's probably going to be Thursday, afternoon that we'll be there. So, yeah. Oh, $20. Thank you very much, my friend. Man, you guys are really great. Diane Shearer, there's a swampy area about a block away from me. Would that water be good for my brand new garden? Swampy area about a block away. Is it like a natural swamp? Like a real... I mean, it's not swampy because it's like drainage ditch from farm runoff and from the roads and stuff like that. That, not so much. But if it's like actual swamp area, like wetlands, yes, that can be very beneficial. Bursting with microorganisms. And let's see here. Moondust says, I feel like gardening preserves whatever sanity I have left. Yes, it's a great feeling. It's the grounding, and it's hardwired into us, guys. What could possibly be more human than the procuring of the food? I mean, we have to eat from birth to death. That is one thing you're always doing, is eating. And so what could be more human than the act of growing things and utilizing the gift from the earth? The earth says, man, I will provide everything that you need here. Just learn the ways and try to be kind to me as well. Even though, as a whole, we are not doing that anymore. Mick says, chickens. The ladies are getting too big for the basement. You kept chickens in the basement? Or, oh, it must be this. Okay, so you got the small ones and then, yeah, got it. Cool, man. I'm really glad to see that you got the chickens. And John Jude, 6A, Ohio, time to cut winter wheat. Question, cut above soil or below soil level? Who told you it's time to cut the winter wheat, my friend? Because it's going to grow back, definitely. That is why in all my videos I say that to cover crop with the winter wheat or winter rye, cover crops are for your heat-loving stuff in the no-till system, okay? So if you're going to till it all in and destroy everything, and you'll lose a lot of the benefits, then it doesn't matter so much because that will terminate it. But if you're terminating it no-till, pretty much if you cut it right now, it's growing back. It will keep growing back until it reaches its natural state where it's going to want to try to set seed, okay? So that's the thing. But yeah, I want to know. So are you, okay. So, I mean, you could terminate it if you, and I've tried this a number of times. If you take a really sharp, flat shovel and you like file down the sides so that it's as sharp as a knife blade, you can take it and do about an inch under the soil surface. Yes. But you're like really disrupting the soil and totally, damaging most of the benefits. But yes, you can do it. But if you just cut it off at soil level, guys, to terminate winter wheat and winter rye, I have done everything you can think of. I have mowed, like to terminate it early, I have mowed it down to the ground so that it was scalping it. I've taken the weed whacker and just scalped the ground. So it's just beating it all up. I've taken a blowtorch, the weed torch, after scalping it to the ground, took the blowtorch, and it still grew back, guys, to my horror. I was like, what is the deal? because I had to plant my cabbages and my potatoes and my peas. I had to plant the cold stuff into there. But that's when I learned, just make life easier on yourself. And if you terminate it, that's how I learned. So if you wait until it gets to the right stage and it starts to set the seed and the milk stage, which I'll show you guys, then you terminate it, it never grows back. Because it says, hey, our purpose in life has been fulfilled. We have made seeds. And so our purpose is fulfilled, that's it. And you mow it down then, it's done. So, let's see. Trish says, I wish I could have chicks. Still trying to convince the hubby. Oh man, if you guys are able to, absolutely you should. Now, I would love to have chickens here, but they're like, there's a law here or an ordinance. You can't have chickens in the city. But yet I know for sure, I know I've had chickens in California, so I know for sure somebody over there has them because I hear them buck, 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 during the day sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. But the argument is that, well, chickens are too loud. Too loud? Man, there's a pack of junkyard dogs like right across the street where they're just like 5 dogs, seriously, that go totally berserk all the time throughout the day. Let's see. Austin, $5. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, does last year's JLF barrel need new leaf mold soil each year? Preferably, yes. Yes, it does. Because here's the thing with the JLFs. So the JLFs are like a, because it's an anaerobic type ferment, it is all about preserving the nutrition. So as the microbes digest the material that is in the fertilizer, they make it into a more plant available form, all right? And they make it into a form that is, some of it is immediately available to plants, some of it is quickly available to plants because it's so much easier, it's pre-digested, so the soil food web can digest it almost instantly and make it available to the plant. Because remember, everything has to be in an organic system, the natural system, everything has to be passed first through microorganisms before it can be absorbed by the plant. And so with the JLFs, we put everything in there with the biology, the leaf mold and all of that, and they go crazy and they're consuming all the stuff and there's bubbles and there's maggots and there's all kinds of life and there's all kinds of stuff happening until it reaches a point where it's consumed all of the food. And then the microbes die for the most part. And what you are left with is microbe bodies and microbe parts and plant available nutrients, tons of it. So that's the thing. So when we, cause like mine right now, they're pretty much cold. I mean, they've digested everything. I mean, people try to say there's no life, there's no microorganisms in an anaerobic ferment. Yeah, right. Then why does it absolutely liquefy anything I put in there? Anything that you put in there, it will liquefy given enough time and the right heat, because it's very much alive. So really the only time that you have to add more biology is when you add more food source. So yes, the thing is to consume it until it's about 1/3 of the way, and then add more leaf mold and plant matter at the same time with the water. That's what's going to make it, do its thing. So that's what you want to do. Anytime that you're adding plant matter, you add the leaf mold, the biology, okay, for the reason I just explained. Let's see here. Ingrid says, Nate, are you familiar with the Köppen climate classifications? No, I am not. Please enlighten me, my friend. Mom General says, hey, Nate, I used the labs created to make farmer's cheese to make a sourdough starter. Name the starter Muri. That's going to make me choke up. Yeah, name the starter Muri. Thank you for all the knowledge and wisdom. That's very kind, my friend. Thank you. That's incredible, actually. So, good luck. I wish you the best. With that kind of name, it's got to have super high vibrations with it. So there you go. Fried Bologna says, if you have a garage, can you put your chickens in when the city comes? You can keep a few. Once you put them in a structure, they're no different than a parrot. Oh, totally. I mean, I get it completely. I mean, and if it was a little more ideally set up, if I had an area, that I could just let them run all over the place, then I would. But it's okay though. We had chickens in California and stuff, and I like that system better, where we had the coop and everything, but they just ran freely all over the place throughout the day. And they were eating all kinds of grubs and stuff that we let them in the compost piles and everything. And the yolks were so dark, like a deep dark orange, hard to even describe, almost a red colored, because they had so many of the natural bugs. And so that's about the only way I want to keep chickens. So once I get the land, then yes, I will. And let's see here. Clem says, in my country, there was an ordinance that you can't have them in less than an acre. I got some anyways, said screw it. Then the neighbors called on me. 3 months later, the ordinance changed, so I could. Hey, that's the way to do it right there. Have the ordinance change. The Mom General, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the contribution. Yes, and guys, I'm working with someone right now who is helping me formulate a website. So it's super cool. I've been wanting a website for a long time. It's so overwhelming to someone like me, you know. So, but this guy is the owner of the company, and he will, which I'll tell you guys more about this company here, later. But so far, it's been fantastic. I mean, really, I'm making some good headway on it. So what's so cool about the website is that it's a place we can organize everything. So there's like drop down bars and stuff like that. So, okay, natural fertilizers, boom. And it takes you to all the videos about fertilizers, and then pesticides, boom, takes you to all that stuff. I'm going to put planting calendars. I'm going to put, and Rachel, if you're still watching, I want to get with you about maybe I can put a link to that thing that you have made, about when to plant what. And so all this kind of stuff, there's going to be so much on the website, and including I want a place to, like, you guys could, or I don't know yet. Yeah, but that's coming. So yeah, working on all this kind of stuff. D Wright, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the contribution. And let's see here. And save money on eggs. Big thanks. Oh, let me show you guys the. Okay, so you already saw, most of you that were watching in the beginning. You already saw the ginger. So the ginger is getting out of control. The super vigorous, virile ginger. Both. But the ginger is getting totally out of control. It's I probably don't need to plant it so early next year because the conditions were dialed in. It's still got 4 weeks before it can go outside, and that is crazy. So I have to rearrange the grow tent in order to accommodate this because it's already so tall. But what I want to show you guys is a couple of things. Here is the sweet potatoes, okay? So this is going to blow your mind. Well, maybe. But here is the sweet potatoes, and they are doing really good. And I'm going to make a short showing you guys, because these things were infested with some kind of like a thripe, or like a whitefly larva. I wasn't even sure. I didn't even waste any time to look. Instead, I took it outside, sprayed it with the J-Dom wetting agent, and within minutes, every single one of them was dead. And they have not come back. But I also put in a little bit of fish fertilizer. You'll see in the video. I also put in a little bit of fish fertilizer with it. And so they just exploded since then. I mean, you can see the fresh growing tips and stuff. You see that shiny green, like the shiny purple and stuff. That's really good. That's a really good growing tips. So here is the soil method. Okay, you see this? And planted on the exact same day is the water method. Yeah, I know, which it's not always about size, okay? It's not always about size, but what I'm saying is that this is going to take 4 times longer. I mean, just so much longer. It's crazy than the other ones in the soil method, because you can see they are just starting to sprout. Now, that being said, these are going to be very good because you can see here that there's all kinds of roots coming out from them. So they're going to have tons of good quality roots, and there's going to be a number of slips off of this. So this is still a fantastic method, but it is so much slower because that was planted on the exact same day that this was planted. And look, okay? So these are going to get crazy long because they can't go out, any sooner than the tomatoes or the peppers or the ginger, okay? They're heat-loving crops. So what we're gonna have to do, and I'll make a video about it, is we're gonna just keep these pruned. It's no problem to just, once they get about a foot long, we're just gonna prune it. We're just gonna cut it like that. And you can root the cutting, actually. I will make a whole video about that. You can then root the cutting and get more cuttings. But yeah, we can keep them trim. We don't want them, because they'll get like 4 feet long. We don't want that, okay? We want to keep them healthy and sort of stout. That's what we really want. Now, whoops. Then I will show you guys the onions. So here is the onions. And you can see here that, so I've been hardening them off. And this is going to lead me into the answering of Mish's questions. So these are the onions. And you see that they, I was hardening them off. And last night it got to like 30 degrees maybe Fahrenheit. And so they got, you know, frosted. But they're a little bit shocked from that, because they were totally upright and erect. But now they are a little bit shocked, but they're still doing really good. So you see how nice and thick they are, because we've been keeping them trimmed. So they could use another trimming, but I'm not going to trim them again, because they've already grown like 2 inches in 2 days since I trimmed them last time. But see how nice and thick they are? We're going to take these and plant them outside pretty much any time, probably today or tomorrow. Actually, I want to see what the root day is. I'm waiting for my friend Nick the gardener. He's going to tell me when the, it's like an auspicious type thing. So yeah, because these are doing really good. I planted these on a root day and these are doing great. So you see how nice and thick they are, and that's what you want. But if you just let them grow and they don't have the right conditions, not enough light, or they're too long and leggy, then that is going to, you don't want that, all right? You want them to be thick, like the size of a pencil when you plant them out. Now, before I read any more questions, I want to answer Mish's question, okay? Because she might not have time to tune in today, so she sent me this. She said, Nate, not sure I can make the live stream Saturday. I really appreciate it if you cover the following topics. Number 1, can you talk about hardening off the seedlings in the weeks before planting outside? How far in advance? What's the best strategy, etc.? Okay, question number 1, how to harden off the seedlings. Essentially, hardening it off does not have to be a long process. All you're doing is introducing it into the outside elements. So depending on your grow setup is what is going to depend on how careful and gradual you have to harden your seedlings off. Okay, if you have a real poor kind of grow setup, or if you just have them in a sunny window, you know, the classic, oh, I put them in a sunny window, they're doing okay, and they're super leggy, and they're just kind of, you can just tell they're not healthy, that's going to have a real struggle, okay? You're going to have to gently put them outside, but they're going to just roast underneath the full sun, okay? So you're going to have to, that will take 2 weeks to harden if they're real sickly looking plants. But if they're nice and strong and healthy, then, which is the only kind of plants that we want. So if they look like this and they're just nice and got that shine, they're nice and erect, they got that nice deep green to them, there's no issues at all, then really you just want to set it out for 2 hours the first day, 2 or 3 hours in direct sunlight the first day, and then you can bring it back in or put it in the shade. And then the next day, 3 or 4 hours, and but look and see if they are, you know, wilting down and stuff like that, then put them into the shade. All right. Then let them recover overnight. You can either bring them back in overnight or leave them out depending on the temperatures. And then like the 4th and 5th day, you just increase it a little bit. It's not complicated. A lot of people have this big whole formula that you got to follow to harden off your plants. You don't got to do that stuff, guys, especially if you are, if they're grown in the right conditions. If you have like the grow tent set up with a nice, vigorous lights and everything, then they're going to harden off real simple. So just watch them, start with a couple hours, add another hour or 2 each day until 5-6 days. That's all it's going to really take. And then you can plant them outside. Preferably plant them on an overcast day. That's the best way to do it. In the afternoon, evening of an overcast day. Or when the next day, plant them in the evening when the next day is going to be overcast. That's the best to do. Number 2, can you please let us know where you got the long trays you use for planting the sweet potatoes to grow the slips? Oh yeah, I'm glad you asked, because beautiful. because these things are actually the liners to window boxes. That's where they. I went to like Lowe's. I've been using these a number of years now, and they had these go inside of window boxes, and so they have different liners for them, and so that's all this is. Okay. Marcel says how long has the live stream been going? For 79 minutes. So the sweet potatoes grow really well in here, and I like these, okay? Because you just put the sweet potato in there, and it works real good. And it's deeper than the trays, and I like to bury them all the way, okay? A lot of YouTube channels or something you'll see, and the people will only half bury the sweet potatoes, which I'm sure that works to some degree or whatever for them. But a couple of years ago when I started experimenting with this method, I learned from Danny on Deep South Homestead. And in my mind, he is the authority on growing sweet potatoes. And so he said, you always want to bury them all the way. And therefore, I'm always going to bury them all the way because, like I said, I consider him the master of growing sweet potatoes. And so it's worked really well because I did an experiment where I had some half buried because that's how everyone shows. Then I had some full buried, and the fully buried ones are so much more vigorous and they have more roots on them. When you pull them out, they're already full of roots, as opposed to the ones that are only half buried don't. So yeah, this is the liner box, and that's what you want to do, okay? And okay, I'll start reading some questions here in a moment, but I want to finish Mish's, and she says, number 3, you can use me as an example of starting seedlings and sweet potatoes too early. Next year, I'm going to start 4 weeks before planting, 2 weeks after last frost or before last frost date. At the max. When you optimize the seed growing environment, they all seem peaked at 4 weeks. They are at 5 weeks now, and it seems to me they're a little less vigorous from being constrained in the soil blocks, no matter the fertilizing. She said, it was too easy to let my enthusiasm win when I should have just followed the Viking wisdom. Better too late than too early. So yes, that is the truth, okay? So the idea is that we only want to have the plants spend as little time as possible indoors. Ideally, we just give them a good head start so that they can be vigorous and reduce more and repel more pests and stuff like that, be more impervious to the pests when they go outside. We don't want to actually grow them up indoors, okay? So really, this is all the bigger that you really want them. This is maximum as far as this is as big as you'd ever want them to be inside right here, okay? And the onions as well. Well, onions are different though because we cut the onions, so onions are different. But see, I've been keeping these trimmed. See how it makes them nice and thick? These are good, thick little onion slips. So these are gonna go out here anytime now, guys. But the ginger, yeah, the ginger and the sweet potatoes are growing a little bit fast. But the sweet potatoes, Mish, you can cut them. You can just cut them, and you can reroot those slips, those cuttings. I will show you guys that pretty soon. Okay. So let me get to some of the questions. Val says, are there drain holes in that window box container? Not in mine, no. But I am very experienced at this. So for many people, I would recommend, if it's your first time and you're unsure, I would put the drain holes in it, but then you have to put something to capture the water runoff. Just because if people are unaware of how much they need to be watering, if you haven't watched my video about how to water like perfection by feel, then you'll probably overwater it. And if they're sitting in water, then they're gonna rot. But for me, I can tell just by the feel. I just lift up this container and I can tell 100% exactly how much water is in there and if it needs it. So I don't have drainage holes in that one, but you should. Unless you feel like you're adequate, you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Jen Fari says, I found one this week at Family Dollar for $3. Not as long, but I got 3 sweet potatoes in mine. Okay, that'll work. Liner boxes look great. Thank you, John. Let's see. How long? Oh, yes. I started my tomatoes at the beginning of March, but my seedling stems are thin. Any advice? Even for my kale. They probably don't have enough light. They probably have too much water and not enough wind That can be another, but probably not enough light. If your seedlings look long, like they got a long stem before you see the little leaves, they're seeking out light. So you need to either lower the light or get more intense light. This always happens if they're in a sunny window, that pretty much always happens because that's just not enough. Unless you have like a greenhouse type window where they can actually get a south facing, unless it's real direct sun most of the day, then that's ideal. Because really the ideal way is to start it up like in direct sun, like a hotbed or something like that, or a hot house or a greenhouse. That's really the good way. And let us see. Have you started with tomatoes and peppers, or do you do direct sowing? In this climate, we cannot really direct sow that. I mean, we could, but no. I start up tomatoes and peppers, yes, because you get to harvest so much longer. Especially the peppers, it's important because I make spices out of them, and so I have to let them go all the way until they're as ripe as can be. And to really ripen, they take forever. To grow peppers, like the poblanos and the wax peppers, Hungarian wax, those can grow big enough to eat, put on the grill like midsummer, no problem. But if you're gonna do it for spices, you have to let them mature all the way. And that takes forever and ever. They just sit there for seemingly weeks and weeks not doing anything except they're ripening. The flavor is becoming more complex. And so most of the peppers for spices, I harvest pretty much just a couple weeks before frost. So Clem says, Nate, I know you plant sweet potatoes in your cold tub, but what would you say is a good rule of thumb for number of slips per container? Thinking about buying 10-gallon grow bags for them. I'm glad you said that because that reminded me of something I want to show you guys. So what I would do and what I have done and what I do and what I'm recommending to you guys is so get a 30-gallon grow bag. I'll put links in the description to these exact ones, okay? But I like these. They're good for the price, and so check out the links in the description. And these are the grow bags. I mean, they have better ones on the market, but they're going to be much more expensive. And so these are going to breathe real nice, and we're going to use a 30-gallon because 10-gallon is not going to be enough, man. The 10-gallon is, you're going to get real tiny little potatoes. It's going to dry out real fast. It's going to be difficult. But this 30-gallon, you fill this thing with some soil, compost and whatever, and you can put 3 slips to this, okay? 3 slips would be good. And then mulch over it, with some leaves, and this thing will be almost full of sweet potatoes. You could put 4 slips in there, actually. So if you put 4 slips and you keep the vines trimmed to about 4 to 5 feet long, then you will get this thing will be full of sweet potatoes, okay? So, or if you do the trash bag method from the video of mine, then you can put 2 or 3 slips in there, yeah. In a 10-gallon pot, if you really had to grow because that was all you had available, then 1 slip, maximum 1 slip. And you have to keep an eye on it because it's going to dry out quick. So if you have just a little bit to invest, I recommend getting the cloth pots for them, yeah. And let's see here. Where are we at? Ingrid said, hardiness zones I feel I miss is leading to new growers. Not everyone who is a zone 9 is the same. Köppen climate classification types gives you a better idea on what and when to plant. That's interesting. I'm going to look it up. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to look that up. Bob Vila says, I asked a few weeks ago if soil pucks or flats filled with soil for onions made a difference. Oh, whoops. Made a difference. I found out of 72 pucks, only 5 sprouted. In the flat, I got hundreds. I think there we go, my friend. Did you use the same seeds in the both? So yeah, the pucks can dry out really fast. They can work okay for some things, but the flats, if you really wanted to do it with the flats, are you talking about flats with? Let's see. I made a difference. Or soil pucks or flats filled with soil. Oh, dude, for onions, oh my goodness, the flats filled with soil is the way to go. I mean, no doubt about it, because the onion seedlings, they they have really thick roots. It's almost like spaghetti, you'll see, and they pull apart really easily. So I'll make a video on how to plant these, but we'll just pull up a clump and we just shake it a little bit, maybe dunk it in some water, and they just kind of fall apart. They just kind of pull apart like that because the roots are really hardy. And so this is definitely the way to go as far as planting the onions. It's so much easier to manage and stuff. Yeah. So, okay, does you guys have some more burning questions that I wasn't able to answer? Canadian Cowboy says, what up, Viking? I'm a Viking too from my mom's side. All right. You're the man. Hope all is well with you and yours from Canada. Thanks. Thank you for your knowledge. One more thing. What's your favorite pepper and why? Okay. Thank you for the positive energy, my friend. I appreciate you. My favorite pepper, well, it depends for different things. The poblano is delicious for fresh eating on the grill. I grill them. Also, you can make salsa with the poblano. Anything Southwest type is really good. And I smoke them and dehydrate them. And they are really good for meat or anything really. And a really complex flavor if you let it go all the way till it gets a dark mahogany. But then if you don't want so much, because it's got a mild heat to it, but if you just want regular, then the Hungarian wax pepper, that is the classic paprika. And so let that go to its dark red and then smoke it and dehydrate it and pulverize it. It is super delicious, all the flavor without really any heat. So yeah, and that's my favorite thing. So Trish, okay, I was thinking of growing sweet potatoes right in the garden. Is it better to do grow bags? Is it better to do grow bags instead? Haven't had much luck growing them in grow bags before, so I figured I'd give my garden soil a try. Okay, so it doesn't. Well, there's pros and cons to both. If you have rich compost, you can fill the bag with the compost, and that is going to be a really rich source of nutrients for the plants, because you see, when we use grow bags, we're forcing the roots to consume only what is in the bag instead of spreading out into soil that's kind of benign in nutrients. So if we have good quality compost, we can get more vigor out of the bags, but they have to be watered more often. You have to keep an eye on it. And the best way with these cloth pots is to create a surface of like leaf mold, or watch my video I made on this. You create a layer of leaf mold or a layer of grass clippings or even cardboard to set these on top of to act as a buffer so that it can pull moisture, when it needs it. That's the number one thing about grow bags and especially the cloth ones, is keeping them moist. But really, in the ground's the way to go. You can't go wrong with doing it in the ground. Just to make sure you got plenty of compost or, liquid fertilizers or manures and stuff like that, because they will be hungry, Mick, $20. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the contribution. How is your winter sowing stuff going, huh? Take some pictures and use the hashtag Garden Like a Viking on Instagram. Take some pictures of your winter sowing stuff. My winter sowing cilantro is like bursting out the top already on some of it. And so, yeah, I'm going to be planting that stuff pretty soon. I know you had 48 containers of it. Super cool. Nita says, when do you start pepper, and for making spices, how many months does it take? I start peppers about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks. And then I'll plant them out about the middle of May. And then it will take all the way up until September before I'm getting them. And then I dry them after I smoke them. Donna says, my onions never got thick like yours. They are very thin and sad. My sweet potato ginger grew like crazy though. Okay, so yeah, the sweet potatoes and ginger can grow without much light. Actually, the ginger can be a partial shade plant. Ginger can grow, it's one of the few plants you can grow in the shade. And sweet potatoes will kind of grow no matter what. But the onions need intense light. They want intense light and lots of nutrients. So that can be the thing. Pierre says, about half of them have yellow leaves. I treat them all equally. I see some gnats. Maybe it's that. Can't get rid of them with natural stuff. JWA should do. What are you talking about? Fungus gnats, probably. Brian says, hello, Nate. Is there an alternative to the fish fertilizer until we can get ours going? Thanks for sharing. Really, there's nothing that compares with the fish fertilizer. I mean, ultimately, but you can use like as far as the nitro sort. Like, what are you talking about for the seedlings? Then, if it's for the seedling brew, if that's what you're talking about, then you make the compost extract. That's number one. But then add the urine. You can add urine, and that will. At about 2 ounces a gallon, if it's the fermented urine. Add about 2 ounces a gallon, and that's going to replace the fish fertilizer. Because the reason we put the fish fertilizer is mostly for like the nitro boost that's going to help with the lush vegetative green growth. But then also there's all kinds of trace minerals as well. Calcium, phosphorus, all that stuff. So I would say the closest second would be the urine, and it's available right now, you know. So hope that answered it. Okay, please comment on urine usage if pharmaceuticals on board. Okay, El Shadowin said, yeah, and that's a common question. So the thing is, if you've got pharmaceuticals on board and you know that your urine or the urine you're getting is tainted with the pharmaceuticals, especially antibiotics, because it kills life in the soil, you want to ferment it first with the leaf mold. And given time and the microorganisms, the medications will be broken down. Now, if you know that you're taking antibiotics or someone's on some kind of gnarly medications and you're concerned, then here is what you can do. You can take the urine in a bucket and put the leaf mold in it, just like I showed on the urea fertilizer video, but also occasionally add the rice wash. Like, you know, when you make rice, like, and you wash it off and you strain it off, hopefully you've been washing your rice. When you strain that stuff off, that's the same stuff we use to make the labs. You can instead just pour the rice wash right into the urine bucket with the leaf mold, and that creates a whole different process. And that is going to speed up all the breakdown of everything. You'll see. And that's what I would do. Yeah. So, okay, it's almost time to go. So let us see. I wanted to see someone. Donna, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. You guys have been very supportive today. I appreciate you. Ty Bentley says, hey Viking, how soon can I use the fish fertilizer? Man, this is so common question I'm getting from you guys. And, but that's what makes me, do better each time, is because I should have said this way more pronounced in the video. But the fish fertilizer there is no end date to it, really. So you begin making it, and after just a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on environmental conditions, the warmer it is, the faster it happens. The cooler it is, the slower it happens. Just like when we put food in the fridge, in the refrigerator, it slows down the breakdown. So if it's warm, you got it in the sun and stuff, after just a couple of weeks, you can start skimming the liquid off the top and utilizing that. But then it will just get better with time. It will break down with time, and it will become more plant available until, like right now, I'll show you guys a short or something. I go out there and open the buckets of the fish fertilizer, and I left them outside all winter, guys. And we're in zone 5. It got real cold. They froze solid for a long time this winter. Not a problem. I went out there, and the whole thing, I'll show you guys in a short, maybe today even, that the whole thing is perfectly liquefied. It doesn't even really smell. It doesn't have that rancid smell anymore, and all that stuff. And it's been about 6 months where I didn't take anything, I didn't add anything. So the fish fertilizer is one of the things you want to start a couple of buckets, succession start them. And then you can just let them ferment, so that the next season, then from that point on, you'll forever have a supply of the best quality stuff. Okay. Let's see here. RJ says, have you much experience with aquaponics? No, I would not say much. No, not enough to give confident advice on. No. But definitely we'll be into it more in the future, when I get the land. Shooting the soil, glad to hear. Oh, what's up, my friend? Yes, Shooting the Soil. Guys, if you like to look at soil microorganisms and stuff like that, Shooting the Soil's got a pretty cool channel where he does that. He's really into it. He's got a microscope, and so you can see the microorganisms in the soil. So you can check that out if you're into that kind of thing. And I'm going to be getting a microscope, actually, because, you'll see in the future. But So, Canadian Cowboy, everyone have a great day. Enough love from Canada. Everyone keep growing. Have a great day, Viking. Yes, you too. Okay, my guys. So we're gonna have to bring this one to an end. All right, it's been almost 100 minutes. So check out the Garden Like a Viking Instagram account where I'm doing all kinds of reels and stuff where I don't want to make full videos about. And use the hashtag Garden Like a Viking. You can tag me in the stuff because I'm trying to grow the Instagram presence as well. We want to grow all this stuff. So, and if you want me to see your stuff, because I want to see your gardens as the season goes along. So post to Instagram and put the hashtag Garden Like a Viking. I saw you, Taida. Hello. Just wanted to say hi. So utilize that. Val says, can we start melons indoors? They yield much better if you just start them outdoors because melons want that good root set. And so, yeah, you want to start them outdoors. If you direct sow melons and squash and cucumbers, they're so much more bountiful. You can start them indoors, but you get a better bounty otherwise. So, and we will be coming at you guys next week from Tennessee. And so, and then probably going to have a collaboration with a prepping channel on our way back, which will be super cool. And I'll show you guys that. I'll be putting that video on the channel. And yeah, let me know if you have any garden video idea suggestions. And on Mondays, on my other channel, Nate Muri, we're doing a live Q&A at 12 noon Eastern time. Same time, except on Mondays, of other things like health and wellness related, mindset, maybe spirituality, that kind of thing, cold training, sauna training. There's so many other things that I'm into besides just this. So you guys can check that out. That's at 12 noon, Monday, Eastern time. And I'll see you there, my friends. Thank you for everything.